Centre 97.3, Est-Ouest 91.7. RM1, la radio nationale.
RM1, 9 o'clock. The news in English with Eris Stewart. Good morning, Eris.
Good morning, Sophie.
The headlines.
Donald Trump criticizes UK over Diego Garcia base delays. Government meeting in Mauritius on Chagos treaty delay and Middle East crisis. Government reassures public on food supplies following meeting yesterday. Holi celebrated today in the Hindu calendar. Board of inquiry into Andy Selmore death continues. Bail request for Frederick Pavadi heard in Cupid Court. In world news, US Navy says it will protect energy shipping routes in Middle East if necessary. And in sports news, Zone 7 Club Volleyball Championship sees Mauritian teams advance to quarterfinals. Today marks the fifth day of deadly clashes between Israel, the United States and Iran. 742 Iranians, more than 50 Lebanese, 6 Americans and at least 11 Israelis have died since Saturday. Yesterday, Donald Trump was particularly critical of one of his allies, the United Kingdom. Speaking to a journalist in the Oval Office, the US president said he was not satisfied with the British in relation to operations linked to tensions with Iran. He pointed to delays in authorizing the use of Diego Garcia military base, an island he even described as stupid. He mentioned the 99-year lease agreement concluded with Mauritius, claiming that this arrangement caused a logistical delay of 3 to 4 days. Listen carefully to this extract.
By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with. The UK has been very, very uncooperative with that stupid island that they have, that they gave away and took a 100-year lease, having to do with perhaps indigenous people claiming the island that never even saw the island before. What's that all about? And they ruin relationships. It's a shame.
Donald Trump also met with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz at the White House last night and said that the United States would stop trading with Spain after Madrid refused to allow American forces to use Spanish bases to carry out strikes against Iran. In Mauritius, meanwhile, Navin Ramgoolam met yesterday afternoon with the Deputy Prime Minister, the Attorney General and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The meeting, which he had announced last week upon returning from the AI summit in India, addressed the delay in the entry into force of the Chagos Treaty, as well as the crisis in the Middle East. More on this with Jenny Yalapa.
The Interministerial Committee says it is following with concern the military escalation between the United States, Israel and Iran. It notes that according to several international legal experts, the attacks carried out by Washington and Tel Aviv against Iran, as well as Iranian reprisal targeting states that were not initially involved, would have no legal basis under international law. Mauritius is therefore calling for an immediate ceasefire and the use of peaceful means to resolve disputes, reaffirming its commitment to rules-based international order. Another point raised concerns the treaty relating to the Chagos archipelago, including Diego Garcia, signed on 22nd May 2025, which has still not entered into force. The committee underlines that at this stage there is no clear indication as to when it will be implemented. The government also deplores the presence of unauthorized individuals on one of the islands of the archipelago and refers to the possible complicity of certain influential figures. Representatives of the Chagosian community in Mauritius, led by Olivier Bancourt, were consulted following the meeting.
And oil is not the only thing raising concerns. The Ministry of Agro-Industry held a meeting yesterday afternoon to review the country's food resources and available stocks. Minister Alvin Bulel sought to reassure the public after the meeting. It's certain that there will be no problem regarding food supplies, he said. He added that despite the international situation, products imported by the Agricultural Marketing Board are secured until the month of May, with no difficulties expected. The Festival of Colors is being celebrated today in the Hindu calendar. Holi recalls the victory of good over evil through the legend of Prahlad and Holika. The young Prahlad is protected from the fire by the god of Vishnu, while Holika is burned. Today, families and friends gather to throw colored powders or water at one another, a symbol of joy and the elimination of darkness. This joyful celebration also marks the beginning of spring in India. Yesterday marked the fifth day of hearings of the Commission of Inquiry aiming to shed light on the death of Andy Selmore at Melrose Prison. Called to testify, an officer assigned to the prison's intelligence unit stated that Andy Selmore may have been assaulted because of a drug-related matter. According to him, there are pieces of information he gathered from detainees. More details in this report.
This hearing was marked by the testimony of an officer from Melrose Prison assigned to the intelligence unit. On the stand, he explained that a drug-related matter could be at the origin of the assault. However, he specified that there could also be other reasons. According to him, the information obtained is based on statements reported by detainees. He was responding to questions from Maître Deepak Ratna, the lawyer representing the family of Andy Selmore. The officer indicated that drugs in prison are a source of altercations between detainees. Prisoners use various strategies to allow synthetic drugs to enter correctional facilities, notably through letters sent to them. He added that the number of letters addressed to prisoners has increased and that it is difficult to determine whether paper has been soaked with traces of synthetic drugs. Maître Deepak Ratna also made a request for footage showing the arrival of the SAMU ambulance within the prison compound to be produced and viewed before the Board of Inquiry. According to the lead prison officer who testified earlier in the morning, several detainees carried Andy Selmore to the prison's medical center at around 4:40 p.m. because he was bleeding from the head and ear. He reportedly received first aid. Andy Selmore then allegedly waited nearly 5 hours for the arrival of the SAMU emergency doctors. However, when they arrived, they could only confirm his death at 8:25 p.m. The hearings continue this morning.
And in other court news, the motion for the release on bail of Frederick Pavadi, the former music teacher at Loreto Junior School, arrested on the 24th of February in an alleged pedophilia case, was heard yesterday at the QPIP court. A police inspector attached to the QPIP CID stated that the suspect is facing new complaints of abuse. Police are in possession of 2 emails sent by the Family Protection Unit. Frederick Pavadi remains in police custody until 9 of March. And it's 9:08. You're listening to RM1. When we move to international news, US President Donald Trump has said the country's Navy will protect ships in the Middle East if necessary in a bid to stop the energy supply crunch sparked by the US-Israel war with Iran. A fifth of the world's oil and gas flows through the Strait of Hormuz, but traffic has almost completely halted following Iran's threats to set fire to ships. Trump said the US government would provide risk insurance at a very reasonable price to all shipping companies operating in the region to ensure the free flow of energy to the world. However, experts warn that these assurances might not be enough to ease companies' concerns. And finally, in sports volleyball, with the Zone 7 Club Championships in the men's competition, our 2 representatives will play their quarterfinal matches this afternoon. Catrabon VBC will face Tampon Gecko Volley Club Sportif at midday, while Rodrigues Orange, unbeaten in the group stage, will take on the Mayotte Club Zamfi at 1:30 p.m. The Catrabon's women's team also qualified for the quarterfinals. They progressed as one of the best third-place teams in the group stage and had to wait until the final day of the first round yesterday for confirmation. In the quarterfinals, they will face the Réunion side Saint-Denis Olympique tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's all from me this morning. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned now to the Intermeet with Lizzie.